I am. Give me just a second. I'll let you know. It takes a second to tell me I really mean it, you know? I am. And then I've got to mute that thing so that it doesn't, you don't get two of me. Okay, I think we're ready. Go for it.
I call meeting to order and I apologize for me being late at 5:24. Roll call, please.
You don't get two of me. Okay, I think we're ready. Hold on, you are getting two of me. Just a minute.
I call meeting to order and I apologize for me being late.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I have got to mute YouTube and otherwise I can hear two of me talking and it makes it real weird. So, okay, roll call. Trustee Cahill? Trustee Johnson?
Here.
Trustee Yates?
Here.
Trustee Plaker?
Here.
Trustee Tibbs?
Here.
Trustee Cox? Trustee Dickerson?
Here.
Trustee Gorgon?
Here.
Brian, I mentioned to them, Brooke had an 8th grade night, so I'm also keeping notes, so bear with me tonight.
No problem. Approval of minutes.
You have the minutes for the September 14th meeting in your packet. I'd be happy to answer any questions about that.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I've got to do a roll call.
Roll call. Sorry. Roll call.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Yates?
Yes.
Trustee Plaker?
Yes.
Trustee Tibbs?
Yes.
Trustee Dickerson?
Yes.
Trustee Gorgon?
Yes.
All right, moving on.
Okay. Looking at the bills, both September and October. Anybody have any questions or concerns?
You've got pretty standard bills in there. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
I make a motion to approve both months of the meeting or the budget.
Second.
Second by Trustee Johnson. Roll call, please.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Yates?
Yes.
Trustee Plaker?
Yes.
Trustee Tibbs?
Yes.
Trustee Dickerson?
Yes.
Trustee Gorgon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Financial report for 2 months.
Got the financial reports in your packet. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll second. Gergen.
I'm sorry, who made the motion? I apologize.
It said I would entertain one. Can I get a
I'll move.
Kevin,
Okay.
Kevin, and then Chris?
Oh, yep.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Yates?
Yes.
Trustee Plaker?
Yes.
Trustee Tibbs?
Yes.
Trustee Dickerson?
Yes.
Trustee Gorgon?
Yes.
All right. Director's report.
I actually am going to just cover everything in the budget, if that's okay with you.
Yep, no problem. All right. New business, the 2022 administrative agreement.
So you have the 2022 administrative agreement in your packets. And I think all of you have seen this before, but just in case you haven't, HISRA and the Peoria Park District have historically had an administrative agreement, and it kind of outlines in there what they do for us as a result of that administrative agreement and what we pay them to do that. This is renewed annually. The only thing that has changed on this since about 2014 or so is the date. In 2014, the only change made to that was that the HISRA full-time employees who are health benefits eligible would start paying the same premiums that Peoria Park District employees paid. Prior to that, HISRA employee benefits were 100% employer paid. So no changes since then have been made.
Katie, is everything working out well for you, in your opinion, for HISRA with the agreement? Is there anything that you'd like to see changed or done differently? Or do you think it's working out pretty well?
I don't think there's anything in the terms of this agreement that we would want to change, or I would recommend changing at this point. No.
Do we need to take action on this tonight then to approve it?
We do, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement, the administrative agreement between HISRA and the Peoria Park District.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
trustee Yates,
Yes.
trustee Plaker,
Yes.
trustee Tibbs,
Yes.
trustee Dickerson,
Yes.
trustee Gorgon.
Yes.
Okay, now the 2022 chair and vice chair, who is up next?
So as most of you remember, or all of you hopefully remember, we have historically just rotated this. That's been kind of the longstanding agreement of this board since I've been here for 20 years. And prior to that, to the best of my knowledge, I typically keep track of that rotation, and it is currently Morton's turn to be chair. So typically the vice chair moves, into chair that member district agency, and then Chillicothe's turn for vice chair. So I'll let you fight amongst yourselves for the honor of those things and make a motion.
Are you guys getting an echo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me. Hold on, I'm gonna fix it. Sorry about that.
No worries. Oh yeah, we've got two of you, Robert. Hey,
Yeah, I'm trying to make one.
let's see if I think I can mute one of you. Do you want me to mute the one without the picture?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, I think we're good now.
So Katie, can I handle this by making a motion?
You sure can.
To appoint Morton the chair, and then Chillicothe. It's specific people though. So Kevin would be the chair, and then I'll make the motion to.
Morton
Chris?
would be the chair. So that would need to be either Chris or Joel.
Okay, I mean,
And Jill and I talked, I'll chair it.
all you. Kevin, is
Awesome.
it Kevin or Shane?
Yeah, I can take it.
Okay. So I guess I'll make the motion that Chris would be the chair and Shane would be the vice chair for 2022.
Then we just need a second.
I'll second.
Robert, trustee Johnson with the second. So roll call, please.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Yates,
Yes.
trustee Plaker,
Yes.
trustee Tibbs,
Yes.
trustee Dickerson,
Yes.
trustee Gorgon.
Yes.
All right. 2022 proposed budget.
Okay. I am going to cover some of the highlights of the 2022 proposed budget. Bear with me as I shuffle my papers from keeping notes. So I sent just kind of an overview in the letter for you. For some of you, this is repeat information, but I like to cover it because sometimes we don't talk about these things except for once a year, right? So it's hard to kind of remember some of these things. The HISRA fund is broken up into two budgets, administration and camps. Administration sort of covers like everything, the full-time staff, all of our year-round programs, our seasonal programming, Our adult program, we operate our vehicles and our facility out of that particular budget. And then camps is just that. It is camps, the 2 summer camps that we operate, as well as any inclusion costs associated with summer camp and summer camp-like activities. So for instance, some of the things that might fall into that are, you know, in the summer, we'll hire a certain number of inclusion employees and they'll go over to Morton and they'll work in like a teddy bear camp program, right? But they also might cover some swimming lessons. It would really not be worth our management time to like kind of nickel and dime that between programs. So that kind of all goes into our camp program, even though typically swim lessons throughout the year go into the administration. Does that make sense? So it's typically all camp associated inclusion stuff, but sometimes some of those camp-like programs in the summer also fall into there. As a reminder, all of our Special Olympics, adapted sports, things like that fall into the administration. So it's just kind of that camp and summer camp-like associated programs that fall into camps. That Camp Free to Be budget includes Camp Free to Be and summer days, and then those inclusion costs. Just to give you kind of some personnel highlights for this proposed budget, we are proposing to return to 2019 levels of service. So that includes filling the positions we've kind of held open during this pandemic. If you remember, we had a full-time employee who left in like January of 2020. And for some reason, I followed my gut and didn't fill that right away. And that worked out well for us. So we held it open during this pandemic. And it's time, right? We're back up to programming levels that we need that full-time employee again. So that second programmer. We also have not filled our administrative assistant position, which is the person at our front desk who handles just kind of the drop-in registration, answers the phone, does all of those sort of things. This has given us an opportunity to kind of revamp that job description and include sort of some like grant writing and fundraising like assistance to that so that we can improve that effort on HISRA's behalf. So we are looking at actively hiring that position, which we had intended to in this budget hire in the latter part of this year anyway. So this proposed budget includes that position as well. And you can see the other ones which we've had, that are also included there. Myself, our office manager, our 2 programmers, one of which has been unfilled. We have a part-time program specialist that typically helps out with our Special Olympics programs and sports and fitness programs. We have a focus lead program that is year-round part-time, 3 focus aid positions. Focus is our adult program that are year-round part-time, that administrative assistant position that we're filling, and then a custodian position, which is we've had for the last 10 or so years. Again, this budget resumes 2019 service levels. So that would be filling those 2 positions that have been held open for the last 18 or so months. One major change I think we talked about last year is the elimination of Access March Madness and the Family Resource Fair. We have budgeted in this proposed budget to bring back a Family Resource Fair. We are currently exploring opportunities to partner with other events. I tried to explore those opportunities earlier this year, but events were just so unstable that nobody was really willing to commit. So we're having some real conversations about that. We've run some budgeted numbers about whether that was standalone or partnered, and we're looking for events to kind of partner with to go ahead and offer that again to families because it's such an important resource opportunity for families. And it really was kind of a one-stop shop for families. And I know many of you have volunteered at that before, and it's a great event and it's something that's really needed in this community. So we intend to bring that back in some way. What exactly that will look like, we shall see. Again, our summer camps are budgeted proposed in this budget to go back to 2019 service levels. We have had both of our camps and all of our camp groups over the last 2 summers, but not at the same occupancy numbers that we have in the past. We had significantly more in 2021 than we did in 2020, but we weren't quite the same. So we have budgeted that to return to 2019 levels, and fingers crossed we'll be there. This budget does also include the resumption of a printed brochure 4 times a year. So if you recall, which you might not, because I don't know about you, but my memory is sort of like been erased a little bit. We printed 3 seasonal brochures. So a winter, spring, summer, and fall seasonal brochure that had all of our seasonal programming in it. And then we print typically in January a camp and summer, summer camp brochure. And we kind of pulled that out and started doing that separately, probably 10 or so years ago. And it really kind of helps kick off camp registration early. And there's a certain amount of our participants that look specifically for that. And it does allow schools and service organizations to focus on that. So we will resume printing that. However, as I've told you before, we have put a lot of work into kind of curating that email list. So we have a lot more people transition to email, so that the numbers we will have to produce has reduced, which will allow us to do kind of a little higher quality brochure and lower costs potentially. So as I'm sure most of you know, our programs are staffed based on support needs. So we utilize historical numbers that we use as multipliers for both revenues and staffing, based on typically the last 3 to 5 years of programming, of similar type programming. Because we typically use those for the last 3 to 5 years, usually around 3 years, but sometimes we go back a little further. As I'm sure you can understand, we've kind of had to throw out the last 18 months. Really this fall, and we did include those numbers, our numbers in each individual program has changed dramatically, and we're starting to see some wait lists. So we did include those numbers, but that's a good sign that those numbers will start to return to where we were, which is really exciting. I have listed in there kind of what that programming menu will look like to kind of show you and that, again, that's very similar to 2019. Some other just miscellaneous highlights that I like to include, because again, these are things that we typically talk about maybe once or twice a year. And so it's good to let you know. IMRF, those, I did include, let me back up. I did include in there for you just kind of a breakdown of what falls in each budget line, because I know that can vary from organization to organization. So I wanted you to be able to see what expenses fall in those budget lines. But our IMRF includes full-time employees as well as those year-round part-time employees that exceed 1,000 hours a year. So we talked about some of those when I talked about the personnel highlights, those that part-time focus program lead and our focus program aides, they all work 1,000 hours a year. Our custodian works 1,000 hours a year. So they are IMRF contributing. The health and dental, I already talked about that. In 2020, our phone lines were ported to internet lines. I don't really understand exactly how that works, but I know it saves us money. And it's worked out well for us and been reliable for us so far. And then the HISRA staff, we continually work to price programming in several different ways. So this proposed budget proposes a 2 to 5% price increase on programming to remain consistent with somewhat what some member districts are doing, what similar programs are priced at. We try not to make similar programs more of a financial burden on our participants than they are, say, on your particular participants. So we try to keep those fairly consistent, but also be fiscally responsible in the process. So we are proposing that 2 to 5% increase to be able to keep up with increased minimum wage, increased supply costs, et cetera. I will remind you that non-resident program fees typically reflect about 20 to 25% increase over resident fees. And I usually like to say that the opposite way. Residents get like a 20 to 25% discount, right? Sounds a little better. And that's been pretty consistent over the last probably 18 or so years. We didn't really have a formula prior to that. And then, let's see, what am I missing? I talked to you about our revenue multiplier. We certainly are putting a bigger focus on grants, small grants and charitable donations in 2022, as we really think kind of diversifying our revenue sources is really important moving forward, especially to keep up with the increase in minimum wage, which I'm sure we're all experiencing. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about the budget or clarify any information that I gave you.
I have just a couple questions for you.
Yep.
So in the memo that you sent to us, you talked about fall 21 registration numbers having a significant increase.
Yep.
How are we compared? So I'm assuming you're saying a significant increase from 2020. How do your numbers compare to 19?
They're fairly similar to 19. So we had slightly less options in 2020. What I'm, I guess, suggesting is our numbers in the fall increased dramatically from the other two seasons in 2021. So, you know, seeing the numbers in some of our programs, we had a few programs we were kind of limping along, as I'm sure we probably all were, as people slowly came back to programming and started to do indoor activities. And for our particular population, that's a little slower. So this fall is really when we started to have to close programs and put people on a wait list, which is, you know, and we were able to open up a couple more opportunities for people to be able to move people off wait lists. But those numbers are fairly similar to where they were in 2019. Joel, but they are increased from the first two seasons of 2021 and certainly the fall of 2020.
My other question was on the revenue side, was just the member district's contributions. Robert, do you know, is Peoria's EAV, is it lower this year? Is that the reflect in the decrease in contribution from Peoria? So
there's actually an increase in contributions for Peoria. So for 2020 was 418,368. 2021 was budgeted at 409. Do you see that? And what they expect to actually bring in is 407. So about 6,000 more than they projected in 2021.
Yeah, the EAV is a little lower.
Yeah. So the EAV has decreased a little bit. They expect it to be fairly similar to what they're bringing in 2021.
Now you want to return some of it back?
No, we do not, but thank you for asking.
Okay. Okay.
And then I was just going to mention on the topic of grants, you said, you know, doing more of those and trying to diversify the revenue. We've definitely got some opportunities through the Morton Community Foundation that I've not seen HISRA grants submitted for, and it's a super easy process, and they're very, the types of things that you would be applying for are definitely the types of projects that they're looking for those competitive grants. So if you do hire someone, definitely have them get in contact with me and I'll help them through that process.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joel. I've kind of been keeping sort of for the last 12 months or so, like a spreadsheet of potential opportunities so that we can really start focusing in on where do those opportunities intersect with our programming and potential opportunities to either fund some portion of a program, or improve the quality of what we're offering based on, that particular opportunity. So
Are we keeping our diversity goals in mind? As well?
absolutely.
Hey, Katie, I had a question on the expenditure for IMRF. I know you touched on that a little bit. I was just curious why the decrease for 2022?
Because the rate went down significantly, Shane.
Okay. And is that also offsetting? Because shouldn't that be going up based on headcount increase?
In theory, yes. That's a number that Carrie Ross crunches for me. So I feel pretty confident in it.
Okay.
So each year IMRF presents each member with what their employer rate will be. It's nothing that we get to decide what it's going to be. And some years it goes up and some years it goes down. It kind of depends on your district's account and how, if you have people drawing, if you have more people putting in. So it's always kind of a surprise when they send that email to find out what our rate's going to be this year. Ours went down significantly this year, but we've had years where it's increased, 7% even year to year.
It is sort of like a little, like a blind box of, what will it be this year? I'll never understand how it's calculated, Shane.
That number though is what keeps IMRF in a good position. It really is. I mean, their ability to be able to forecast the needs for the retirees when they do retire is what keeps IMRF as a pension system out of a lot of these conversations that we all hear about state workers' pensions and teachers' pensions and all of those things. So they've done a pretty good job forecasting that, at least for us, I know.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I would assume that could be a pretty impactful if you have a district that's that's a much larger number.
So you guys have the ability to levy for it, right? So HISRA does not. We cover all of that sort of stuff out of our operational dollars that you all contribute to HISRA. So as a district, you have the opportunity to levy specifically for that fund, is my understanding. Please correct me, as you guys would know more than I would.
No, you're exactly right. We do have the ability to levy for our IMRF needs. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? So we need to motion to, is it the motion to approve, accept and place on file? What are we?
Approve,
Approve.
please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
trustee Yates,
Yes.
trustee Plaker,
Yes.
trustee Tibbs,
Yes.
trustee Dickerson,
Yes.
trustee Gorgon,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
We already covered the administrative agreement. Correct?
We did, yes. So other than I think Joel's, Joel, you're up. What he
Yeah,
wanted.
so I just wanted to, number one, we're getting close. Or do we have a December meeting?
So we do have a December meeting. Our December meeting is scheduled for December 14th because Peoria Park District's second meeting of the month is scheduled for December 15th, although I understand it might not happen, but in the past, historically, that meeting has not always happened because it's such a busy time, I know, for everyone. So that I would leave that to your discretion.
Yeah,
But-
I'd rather not wait until December, but I just wanted to start off by saying, I think you've been doing a great job here. I know the last year and a half has had tons of unknown uncertainty associated with it, and HISRA has done a great job being flexible, making changes, just like all of our member districts have. I think this group of board probably understand that more than most people could. But I'd asked Katie if HISRA historically has done anything for Christmas as a holiday gift to the full-time staff or part-time staff. She said they have not. And I wanted to suggest that this year, just as a sign of thank you, specifically to the full-time staff, and I'd like to hear everybody else's input here, to do something for the full-time staff this year, even if that's just a $100 gift card, Visa gift card, or something along those lines, just to say thank you, and from the board for doing a great job here over the last couple of years.
I think that's a great idea.
I also think that's a great idea. A little gesture like that really goes a long way.
How many staff are we talking about, Katie?
So if you were wanting to cover the full-time staff at this point, that would just be 3 of us. If you wanted to also include those permanent part-time staff that work in our office year round, that would include our focus staff and our custodian, which would be an additional 5 people. So that total, it'd be 3 full-time, 5 permanent part-time that are in the office.
So 8 total.
Covering
Correct.
all IMRF qualified employees.
That would be all IMRF qualified employees, yes.
Well, I think we should include all of them.
I agree.
Yep.
I think the demarcation between IMRF and non-IMRF is a nice divider as well. From the permanent part-time 20+ hours a week to and above.
And just so you guys are aware, the question that I posed to Katie was, would it be impactful to the budget in any way? Is there the money there to do that? And I'll let you answer that, but she'd indicated to me it wouldn't negatively impact the budget.
It would not negatively impact the budget. I think, I think, as I said, some of that relief money that we've gotten, and because we subsidize a large portion of our programming due to the nature of just our programming, this year is not at a deficit.
Anybody opposed to $100? I mean, I feel like that's a easy number.
And I do appreciate the IMRF qualifying employees, because I think that's one of the things I'm sure a lot of you, who are directors understand, but certainly those of you who have been on boards for a while, as park districts and special rec associations, we couldn't survive without those staff who are willing to work 25 hours a week year round and really have a significant impact on our programming.
So we all in agreement of the $100?
Do we need to?
I'll make a motion.
It's not on the agenda. I don't think
Yeah.
it's anything that, I don't think it's anything that needs a roll call. Just
The total wouldn't require a motion
Yeah.
for any reason either, so.
that's all I had. But thank you for the work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up, Joel. That's good stuff. Anybody have anything else for the board for the good of the cause? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Do we need a second and roll call?
Second.
Yep, roll call, please.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
trustee Yates,
Yes.
trustee Plaker,
Yes.
Trustee Tibbs,
Yes.
trustee Dickerson,
Yes.
trustee Gorgon.
Yes.
All right. That concludes the meeting. So,
Cool.
apologize again for being a little bit
Have a
late.
good one. Happy Thanksgiving.
You guys.
Happy
Yes,
Thanksgiving.
everyone have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Have a great night.